Hello, wonderful humans. Welcome back to Board Game Dads. My name is Anthony,
And my name is Eric.
and we're back here with another Board Game Dadcast. This is, I believe, episode 4, perhaps?
I think so. That sounds like a good number.
Yeah, you'd think we'd have an easier time remembering when it's only been that many. It's not like, oh, what is this, episode 627 or 629? But we do a bunch of different stuff, so,
I
there's
do
lots
want
of
to say
good
that as of recording this, I think we've only released one of them.
Oh, that's true, actually.
True?
That might be true.
So we're just going to blitz y'all.
That's right. That's right.
I don't say y'all. We'll have to edit that later.
All right. Well, regardless, we're back. We're going to chat about some board games as usual here. We typically start off with any new games that we've gotten to the table recently.
Right.
And I'm proud to say that Lauren and I still have our continuous streak going of board games played.
Nice.
I think we're up to 80-something. This evening, we just played Cartographers, which also, by the way, I should mention that in addition to that streak, we also have our own 10 by 10 challenge going on for the year. And Cartographers is on that list as well. So it's kind of like a double check off here. And I won. So there's that.
What is a 10 by 10 challenge for those?
A 10 by 10 challenge, for those of you who don't know, is a little chart like this, or it doesn't have to look like this, but this is the one we printed out, in which you choose 10 games that you want to play 10 times throughout the course of a year. And so here's our 10 games, and we're marking off or coloring in these meeples on who won each. So I counted.
Let's see what do you got on there. La Granja No Siesta?
Yeah, that's spelled wrong. I think it's a J. Have you heard of La Granja, that game?
I have not played it.
Yeah, this is the dice version.
Okay.
That's another roll and write. It's pretty cool.
I have not played Pyramid Poker or La Granja. I've played everything else.
Mm-hmm. So overall, Lauren is winning this. She has a pretty dominant stretch there on Fleet the Dice game. I barely eked out a victory last time, so there's that. But yeah, it's fun to compete like that. How about you?
Little chart.
Thanks.
We have no such chart.
No, I know. But what have you played recently?
We got Corrigans to the table on St. Patrick's Day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's a fun little game where you have leprechauns, a pot of gold, a rainbow, and it's pretty quick too. Not a great 2-player game. Oh, it's also got tiny little animals that you can ride on from area to area. Let's see. We got a couple old reliables. We got Marvel Champions and Wonder Woman played again as usual.
Nice. Did you play against a different villain yet in Wonder Woman?
In Wonder Woman, we played against Cheetah, which we played against last time. Now, we first set it up that we were going to play against Circe. I still can't remember how to say that. And so we set it up and we're like, oh yeah, we'll play against Circe again. We set it all up and we're like, this doesn't sound familiar because we played against Cheetah and we forgot. So then we got rid of Circe and put Cheetah back out. We just, just dipping our toes in one new character at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was another fun one. We played Canvas again. I think that was last night. And something about the game, it's not for me.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks great, right? The I don't know what you want to call them, the Mystic Veil type cards that are see-through.
Yeah,
and then you stack like 3 of them. Yeah, the transparent. You stack 3 of them to make some piece of artwork. You can have 5 cards in your hand, and then you have to make 3 of them into a painting because you can't have more than 5 cards. And sometimes you're just waiting for this one color to come out. You're like, I have all these cards, but I haven't got anything with yellow on it, right? There's no yellow cards. No cards have come out that are, showing something, a yellow symbol down the bottom. And it's just too bad. You have 5 cards and you got to make a painting. And then you have like 4 different scoring ways to score. They can be different each time you play the game. But you have 4 different like scoring cards at the top. And then you got to figure out, well, if I put them like this, then I can get, a second red ribbon, which at the end of the game maybe give me this many points. And you really, what seems like it's only like a 15 or 20-minute game becomes such a brain burner that like sometimes it makes me feel like a 10 or 15 minutes just for that last turn where I'm like, all right, I screwed up my first painting. My second painting's no good. My third painting's got to be, what can I do? And I got to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to maximize the amount of points? And it's just, that's not really my thing. I don't like analysis paralysis.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I don't enjoy it terribly either, but
yeah. And we also got Pompeii. Love Pompeii. I saw that was on your list.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
we played that last week.
That's a good one. That's one of my favorite games. That's definitely my top 10. Probably my top 5 as well.
We also got to play. I borrowed a couple of games from Chris, who's been on the channel before, and last night was it last night? Yeah, we played this game called Campy Creatures. Do you have this?
I have not. I've seen it at. I think I've seen it at Barnes Nobles.
It's pretty cool. I like the artwork. I like the whole monster thing. It's one of those games where everybody has the same like deck of cards from like 0 through 8 or whatever, and you all choose one secretly and you reveal them, and you're trying to capture these humans basically. So I like those games. Again, like you mentioned before about Corrigan's, not the best 2-player setup, right? Because there were a lot of each card, in addition to having a value on it, also has like a special ability. And with 2 players, there were a couple of the special abilities that just kind of like didn't really make sense. And maybe you're not supposed to play with those with 2 players. I don't know. I think there was an expansion in there as well. But overall, I liked it. I would play it again, just not with 2.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen the artwork and it looks cool, especially to play around Halloween.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't seem like a great game for 2 players.
A game that is great for 2 players, though, that we did play, which is also on our 10x10 list, is Seven Wonders Duel. I like that game a little more and more every time I play it, and I think I have to start thinking about picking up one of those expansions for that one. I think there's 2.
I played that game with you a few years ago. You came down. I couldn't remember how to play the expansion, that we had to separate everything and just played the base game.
Oh.
And haven't played that expansion, Pantheon expansion. Haven't played it since. And I don't know. I think Melissa and I played regular vanilla Seven Wonders Duel once. But yeah, it's a really cool game. It just doesn't get to the table.
Yeah. That's why we put it on the list, so we'd be forced to play it at least 10 times.
Nice.
And the only other thing of note here that I found interesting, we played a game with our friends Steve and Mariella over Zoom pretty much weekly now, every Wednesday. We try to anyway.
Cool.
And Steve had this old game he actually borrowed from his dad called Sharpshooters. It's just a dice rolling game. It comes in this oversized, like sort of rolling area that you really don't need. But basically, you play through different rounds, and each round there's a different card out that has, I believe, 6 different rows of different dice, displays, dice faces, a full house, say, or a straight or whatnot. And everybody takes turns rolling, and you claim one or as many spots as you want, really, and you can keep re-rolling if you want. But there's some of them that'll give you negative points, and only the person who finishes the row gets those points. So you could be like, oh yeah, I want to pump up this 80-point slot, right, with my 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then someone else gets that 6, and they get it from you. It's like, yeah, okay. So it took a little while for me to learn that strategy, to not just give things away. But it was cool. It was fun to play a game that was like something I had never heard of before, right? And it was pretty simple to teach. And again, something that we were able to do over Zoom, even though we didn't have the game. All we needed were some dice, and we were good.
Yeah, I never heard of that one. That sounds cool. What's that called? Sharpshooters?
Sharpshooters, yeah, just a bunch of dice.
Cool. I got a couple more. One of them is, how they put out a bunch of different types of Carcassones, like Amazonas, and I can't even remember some of the other ones. Gold Rush.
Yep.
We played Safari over Hill and Dale.
Okay.
And it was cool. It was a lot of fun. I don't know that I would say it's my favorite of them, but it doesn't have farming, which is typically, like one of the least good, or one of the least, but my least favorite parts, our least favorite part in Carcassonne is when I have to steal somebody else's farm because I can and because I want to win. All right. And when that somebody else is my wife, and she's got this farm and I'm real sneaky about it. Oh, well, I just connected our farms, and she's like, but now I just took control of the farm and now I'm going to get all. I hate that. I hate doing that stuff. This one doesn't have that.
So is there something instead of farming?
There is. So you're collecting resources that are pictured on some of the buildings, right? So this building here, it's not a building, towns and cities.
Okay.
But they can have sunflowers and scarecrows and pumpkins and all these different. And if you collect them, it's set collection, right? If you get one of each, it's worth 5 points. If you get two of each, it's worth 10 points, right? 5 points for each set. And so you're doing that instead of farming, really, because you're still getting 2 points for each city or town or whatever tile, and you're still getting 1 point for each road tile. Now, there actually is something with the roads where you put somebody on the road. When you put a road piece, when you connect to the road, if you have somebody, you can walk all the way to the one side and collect however many points. So if you have a really long road and you put this tile on, you can walk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to the end. The next time you put a tile on, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way back to the other end. But now there's a sixth tile. Then you put another tile on your next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can just keep on going back and forth and raking in the points. Unless we're playing it wrong. And we both read the rule book, and it didn't say anything about you can only go in one direction or you can only do it once. So it seemed like the kind of game where, why would I end my road?
Right.
I have this guy, and I'm going to get 1 point for each road. Even at the end of the game, I'm going to get 1 point for each road. So why would I ever end this? I'm just going to keep on doing it and going all the way to the end. And then you're going to have to end my road if you want me to stop getting all these points.
Right.
And so that seems kind of stupid. So I feel like we might have been doing something wrong, but I couldn't find anywhere anybody saying that we did something wrong.
Yeah, I have a few of the Carcassonne variants. I have never played the Hill and Dale one, though. I don't know if I'm sold on the concept yet. Sounds kind of meh.
It seems cool because there's no farming, but then it has that little problem with it. So I like Gold Rush. I think that's my favorite outside of Winter.
Yeah. I think Hunters and Gatherers might be my favorite outside of Vanilla.
Yeah, we got to check that one out again. I only played it that one time.
Yeah, they just reprinted it. I think there's new artwork now. All right. Speaking of new stuff, any new acquisitions for your household lately?
No, I haven't gotten any new games anytime soon. It's I got a couple Kickstarters that are coming.
Okay.
That's for another episode.
There you go. Well, my wife Lauren went out to run errands today and food shop and whatnot, and she came home with a couple of games. Went to Target, another sale.
Oh yeah, there's a Target sale.
Yeah, we got Hocus Pocus.
Nice.
Which I find odd that it says Disney, which I understand that, but it says from the movie Disney Hocus Pocus the game. It even says it here on the thing from the movie. Is there nothing? Is there a book? I don't know. And our first pandemic. Pandemic Hot Zone North America, a much streamlined, much shorter version. I believe there's only, 3 viruses instead of 4, and it's only in the northern North America map. So check that out as well. Yeah. All right. I think is it time for our main topic?
I think so.
Okay, here we go. So you've heard us or probably other people mention, if you ever watched any kind of board game content at all, a shelf of shame, or others call it a shelf of opportunity, depending on how you want to tackle that. No, you like shame better? Why?
Because some of these games on the shelf of shame, I know are going to be garbage. So there's no potential. There's really no opportunity. I'm not going to have my mind changed by this game that I already know I'm not going to like. But I'm going to play it eventually.
Yeah, but you also always mention how there's always like that next game that could be your next favorite game. So what if your next favorite game is on that shelf?
It could be, but It's not a couple of these.
Okay,
A couple
that's
of
fair.
these are shelf of shame. I'm not embarrassed that I own them because
Right.
I own them for whatever reason. But sometimes based on the mechanisms or the theme or whatever, whether or not you're going to be interested in the game. And when you're buying it just because it's on sale at Barnes and Noble, and then you bring it home and it just doesn't get played.
Yeah, I've been there. That Zen Garden game that we both bought at Barnes and Noble on different occasions, I think, without even knowing that the
We
other
did
person
play that
bought it.
one, so that's not on this list.
Okay, I think I sold that game before it got played.
But
It's
not a bad game, actually. And I think there's a second edition in that. It sounds like it was selling pretty well.
Huh.
People were enjoying it, yeah.
All right, well, I've got two right off the bat that I want to mention really quickly for a couple of reasons. They're both on this list. They happen to also both be Christmas games, which is extra sad. But the reason they haven't gotten played is that they are 3 plus players, right? Can't get played at 2. Now, one of them is called The Christmas Story, a major card game, which just came out this past year. So I don't feel as bad about that one because we just got it. Never had a chance to play it with anybody because you need 3 players. The other one, also a Christmas game I've had for quite a long time, and that is 12 Days. I saw this card game played on tabletop with Will Wheaton one episode, and it's just a really small card game based on the song 12 Days of Christmas. That's what the artwork looks like. And again, I kind of feel like I bring it places very often, and it just never gets played. And so that's another 3 plus player one, which is why it's, I guess, still on the list, but it's been on there for a while. So there's less of an excuse for that one. How about you?
Well, I have seen 12 Days at my local my local friendly local game store.
There you go.
And because it's Christmas, immediately I'm like, oh, I want to get this game. 3 players. That's why we don't own it.
Yeah.
Now I have a total of 14 games on my shelf of shame.
Oh, that's so interesting. So do I.
That is interesting. I know we talked about this earlier. Otherwise, I would be a little more mind blown here. Oh my God, really? But yeah, so I got 14 games. Now I have excuses for about half of them as to why they didn't get played. So I'm going to start with my number 14, which is a game that I got for Christmas from, I think, my parents one year because they were like, oh, he likes games. We'll get him this because... So the game's called Fart, right? I don't know what it's about.
I know why they bought it for you, though.
I know why they bought it for me. We haven't played it, and we were going to get rid of it. I have it in the box of games that we're going to try and get rid of and trade in or just donate. And I feel like, we have a kid, we got another kid coming. Maybe just hold on to it because I'm sure at some point they're going to like farts. So we'll stick with it, and we'll let them see if they like it.
Let them smell their own farts and decide for themselves.
But that's definitely not a shelf of opportunity. I have another game here. My next game. I don't know if you want to just alternate or if I'll just do a couple. You do a couple.
Yeah, we could do 2 and 2.
Okay.
See how long we remember that for.
So my number 13 is called Beagle or Bagel.
I have seen this.
It's a bunch of cards that are either beagles curled up into a ball or bagels with like different colors that look like it could be a dog curled up into a ball. And the cards come out and you have to look at it. And the first one, I think, to say Beagle or Bagel and grab the card gets it. And we got this card. I believe, I can't remember the name of the company, but I believe I had the game Scarabia, and it was missing a card. So I emailed the company and they sent us out new cards, and they also sent us out this game, and they're like, hey, here's a free game. Check it out.
Nice.
And so I haven't checked it out because it seems dumb, but it's really cool that they sent it. The artwork is cool. I have looked at it. It's not for me and Melissa. Maybe it'll get some play when the kids are a little bit older, but for now, back of the shelf.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that you're like, it's almost like a TV show when you're like, they really made this TV show. Like enough people were like, yeah, this is a good idea. But you know what? Maybe they made a decent amount of money off of it. And there's that. All right. So back to me here. I'm going to go with another game that I've had for quite a while, and I think the reason it hasn't gotten played is because I have two other versions of this title, and I think you might. I'm wondering if you have this crossover actually, and that's Castles of Burgundy, the card game. I have Castles of Burgundy, the regular board game. Love it, one of our favorites, and we play the dice game pretty often too. Like that one a lot. Just have never even. I may have looked through the cards once, maybe, but I know nothing about it besides that it looks extremely similar to the dice game box. Like right now, they're like identical. One's blue, one's like purple.
I forgot to add this to my list. We have not played this. We do own it. We have not played it. But yeah, so I got a
15
games on the shelf of shame.
All right, so there's that one, and then we're gonna go with. Okay, so here's another little card game, and this is the one that I feel the least guilty about because it is the newest one in our collection. We've only got it a couple of weeks ago, I think. That's Fox in the Forest, a little two-player trick-taking game, which has very cool artwork as well, and has not gotten played yet. But again, haven't had it for that long, so there's that. And I serve back to you.
That is a viable excuse. I will have that excuse later on.
Nice.
So my number 12, I believe I'm on now, is called Animal Pod Animal Unicorns.
Huh.
We bought this when it came out, I think for Christmas or even before last December, just because it's unicorns and it's a kid's game. We knew we weren't going to play it until Zoe was a little bit older, and we haven't. So there it is, my excuse as to why we haven't played this one.
Did you open it and at least like stack a little bit or no? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Huh.
We might have, but I don't think so. And then the next game, number 11, is called Batman Rogues Gallery, I believe. Just got this recently from Barnes & Noble. It's $5. It's a 3 to 8 player, 3 to 6 player, something like that. And we don't have 3 players right now. So it's just sitting in there. It's not a waste of money because it was only $5. And eventually it's got really cool artwork too. It's the artwork from the animated series back in the day. And so it's I'm very excited about it. Might not be that great, but it'll be fun enough for a 3 to 4 player game.
Sure.
Where you're the villains and you're trying to beat Batman.
Right.
I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. It's tough to explain what these games are about because I've never played them.
I know. Maybe we'll have to do a follow-up to any of these that get played. We'll do like a little first impressions.
I could do that. I'll probably play at least 3 of these in the next 3 months.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Is that me, or did you have another one yet?
Go for it.
I already lost track. All right. So I think I'm going to go with, you mentioned Barnes & Noble, and I believe I have 2 games on here that are from Barnes & Noble sale. One of them was definitely upon your recommendation, a game that you said you liked, and I have not played it yet, and that is Wreck Raiders.
Ooh.
All right, so that was Barnes & Noble. And then another one I got at Barnes & Noble one time is New York 1901. And I remember specifically this game because I saw it in the clearance section of Barnes & Noble, and it was open. I mean, there was no shrink wrap on it, I should say. So I opened it and sat on the floor and counted out all the cards and all the bits according to the contents of the rule book to see how complete this game was. And sure enough, it was missing like 3 little things, like 3 cards or something like that. And I was like, I'm going to buy this anyway. Reached out to Blue Orange Games, got the replacement parts very easily. So shout out to them for their customer service there. And, I haven't played it since. So thanks, Blue Orange, for heeding my attention so well and then me not doing anything about it afterwards.
Wait, you really just sat on the floor and just looked through everything?
Yeah.
They have tables there, right?
I don't know if there's big enough tables to lay out the game. I wasn't thinking that much. I sit on the floor even at my own house, so there's that.
All right.
All right, back to you.
So, continuing with the whole Barnes & Noble theme that we're doing, these next 2 games we probably bought about 4 or 5 years ago from Barnes & Noble, from the clearance bin, because at this point in our lives, we hadn't yet learned how to save money and not just throw money at the first board game we see on clearance. but one of them was called Harbor. It's a small little game, and we bought it. We actually attempted to play it once, and I think I was drinking that night, and I just couldn't understand the rule book because it's. I think it's like an economic game and things like that, where you're buying and selling and trading, and it just wasn't happening for me that night. And so it really left a bad taste in my mouth. And then I think I attempted to watch a video on it to see how to play multiple times, fell asleep through all of them. And the game could be great. I don't know.
Were you drinking all of those times as well?
No, but probably later on at night. And so Harbor might be a great game, might be garbage. I own it. I haven't played it. And the next game, like I said, that I also got from Barnes & Noble clearance bin is called Pandemic Contagion. Just another pandemic game that came out 5 years ago or so. That's all I got.
Is that the dice one? Do you know? You don't even know.
I don't know.
Yeah, the pandemic bug was hard to pass up.
Yeah, because Pandemic was the first game that I bought from the modern gaming industry, and we loved it. And we're like, oh, Pandemic Contagion's got to be great. And we bought it, and we probably read the back. We're like, yeah, it doesn't look that great. Yeah, we'll play it soon. Nope.
Oh, to be young and foolish again. All right, let's see here. What else? Okay, here's a game that has not been played, but literally has gotten onto the table and been set up on more than one occasion at my house, and that is called Mountains of Madness. This has one of the coolest covers in my collection. I love the way this one looks, and this is essentially a cooperative game with a sort of Lovecraft backdrop, although it's very minimal, I believe. And basically, you're trying to complete these goals by, I think, collecting symbols. But the big catch of this game is that you're affected by this madness that gets worse as the game goes on. And so there's usually something that's hindering the way you can play your cards or even the way you can communicate at the table, to the point where, someone can only talk in questions or, can only say every other word or something like that, like off the wall stuff. It's a weird backdrop to have this like Cthulhu thing with this sort of almost party game twist to it. But I think that's why it was intriguing to me. And so, like I said, we had this one set up a couple times, and I think it was both times might have been with our friends Steve and Mariella, who I mentioned already, and we just didn't get it done because either something else came up, or I know the one time we were like, I wonder if this is going to be too loud. We had AJ upstairs sleeping, and he was only a few months old at that point. And like I could foresee this one getting like a little too raucous when there's that, why aren't you listening to what I'm saying? And why are you only talking to that person kind of thing? So for whatever reason, it didn't get there for another time. And so that's the game has the most close proximity to getting played, but hasn't gotten played. So at this point, who knows when that one will get to the table, but I'm not getting rid of it. That's for sure. All right. And then we got one more here. This one I've had for quite a while, and I think you might have this one too. Maybe you forgot it, or maybe it is on your list. And that is Risk Star Wars Edition, which has nothing to do with Risk, but is essentially a game that takes the movies, or the original movies, I should say, into a board game where you're doing several things at once. And it looks really cool. It's got a cool board. It's got cool little minis, some ships, and the Death Stars in there too. And I think this one actually got set up one time with my buddy Tooth, and for whatever reason didn't get played, and it's been at the bottom of the shelf ever since then.
Now, I had heard that Star Wars Risk was very similar to a game called Star Wars, I think Queen's Gambit.
Yes, that's correct.
And people were always talking about how great of a game. Oh, that's the best Star Wars game they ever made. So I wanted to check out Star Wars Risk. So we got it, and hasn't even been opened yet. I think there's only like 3 or 4 games on this list that haven't even been opened yet. That's one of them. And I'm excited about it. I love Star Wars. The game seems simple enough. I don't have a good reason why we haven't played this one. I feel like something in my brain is telling me, oh, it's Risk. That's like playing Monopoly or Jenga. Just don't even think about that game. Just move on to the next game and pick something, new and shiny. And I think just because it is technically Risk, it sort of suffers from that method of thinking.
Yeah, you might be right. And I think even to piggyback on that a little bit, it comes in one of those flat, long boxes like that all older board games used to come in, like Monopoly and Risk and things like that. And because of that, it's, under a few things, and it doesn't really stand out because all you see from it is the very thin, side of the box that I think is, it's totally black. There's not even like a logo on the side of the box. So like it disappears, it really does. But it might be great. We don't know.
All right, the next two games I'm going to talk about, one of them is called Truck Off. And
okay.
I think there's been another version of this game that's come out. This is, I believe, maybe a card version of a different game. I'm not sure. I haven't played it. It seems cool where you have different types of like food trucks,
right.
And you're doing something, I assume, selling food.
I hope.
But I don't know. Don't know why this hasn't gotten played. I think we set it up once, and it was just, I don't feel like learning this right now. Let's play something that we already know, and then it just never got back to the table.
Yep, that will happen.
It will happen. And the next game is called Unicornus Knights. Now, This game is a cooperative game, so I love it. I was working one night, and Melissa took the initiative to open it up, learn the game, set it up, and get ready to play.
Oh.
And she's done this on multiple occasions, and she did it and was just like, I got home and like, oh, cool, we're going to play this game. She's like, I have no idea. I don't understand how to play this game. I've read the rule book over and over. I've watched the video, and I don't get it. And, she was getting like noticeably upset. I was like, okay, then we'll pack it all up. We'll play something else. Like, don't worry about it. And because of that situation and that incident, we'll call it an incident, hasn't made it back to the table.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that'll leave a bad taste in your mouth when you have a miserable time setting up a game and you can't understand it, and then you just like, I especially me, I get frustrated pretty easily. So we're not getting rid of it. We're gonna stick with it, and we're gonna get it back to the table. I know Rado's done a run through of it, so I'll probably have to watch that again, learn most of the rules, get some wrong too.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we do the same thing though. So what are you gonna do?
No, I'm glad you're going to give it a shot at some point.
Yeah, I know something about the game has to do with there's like a princess and she wants to go straight towards this bad guy, and you have to kind of tell her, no, you want to go over here first, and you want to go, and you got to like protect her while she's trying to go gung-ho towards it. And so it's different. It's not the same kind of thing as a lot of games, and so I guess that's maybe why it was a little confusing to figure out.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Usually you'll read something and be like, oh, this is like so-and-so game, right?
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, okay, got that part. And then there might be one or two things that are new. But if you're learning something where like everything is unfamiliar, that can be pretty intimidating.
Like there's a brand new mechanism, and you're like, wait, what? Especially if you haven't watched the video and you're just like, I don't understand it. If she wants to go, why do I have... That's why they make videos, though.
That's true.
All right, what you got?
All right, so you mentioned a game that was not opened in your house, and I do have one of those on my list. Sadly, this one is also from, or I should say, sadly, this one and the next one I'm going to say are both Christmas presents, right? So we're getting around to the end of March here, so they've been in the collection for a little while.
Yeah.
The one that's in shrink wrap still is New York Zoo, which everyone has told me I am going to like, so I should play it. I know, shame on me. And the other one is just as shameful, really. At least it's open, though, and that's Mariposas, which is from Elizabeth Hargrave of Wingspan, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite game. And this one's about monarch butterflies. It looks awesome, and I don't know why it hasn't gotten out yet. Those are Christmas presents. I know. Womp womp.
Yeah, that Mariposas, out of all the games that you've mentioned so far, I figured you guys would have played that one. doesn't seem like it's that difficult of a game to learn.
Yeah.
And it's that'll be played soon, especially after now that you're recording this and you're actively thinking about it. That might be one of the first ones you play off this list.
That's a good point. That's a good
Money
point.
down on that. All right, so just to kind of keep going on this Christmas thing, I got Melissa a Christmas gift last Christmas.
Oh, I think I know what this is. This is the Funko, right?
Funkoverse. Yep,
Yeah.
the Funkoverse Batman. I got it. Batman, Batgirl, Harley Quinn, Joker, and she didn't ask for it. I just got it for her because I thought, hey, it's got Harley Quinn and Batgirl, and it's got cute little things. Like, we're not big Funkoverse people. Like, we don't buy the little statues or whatever you want to call them. I love action figures. I want them to look cool, not silly.
I feel you on that. I don't understand the Funko Pop collecting thing. I
do like that it encompasses so many different cultural TV shows, movies, books, everything. Like any character from anything that you can think of, there might be a Funkoverse. What do they call Funko Pop?
Pops. Funko the little, yeah. I think are the ones in the game the same size as the collectible ones that you buy? I don't know that.
There's big ones, there's mini ones, then there's like the mystery minis. I'm really not sure because it's not my cup of tea.
Well, yeah,
but the game looks cool, and they have the Kool-Aid Man, and then they have the Jurassic Park and everything, and but it's not cooperative, so it's sort of like I guess almost like a war game, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a fighting game, really. Skirmish.
That's not typically our stuff. Like I've played a lot of HeroClix. I love HeroClix, but now that I play 95% of the games with just my wife, it's not always a good thing to play a game where it's like, I'm going to attack you, and maybe I have a bit more of an advantage because I know this, and so those types of games don't translate well in our household yet.
Right.
But we'll check this one out. We just haven't. Also, I do want to say this about the box. The box is ugly. It doesn't have the name of the game on one side. So whatever side you put it on your shelf, it doesn't say Funkoverse Batman. It's got pictures. I don't know. One of them's got pictures of the 4 characters. One of them might say Funkoverse, which I guess is the name of the game. But I think that where it says that, it's black on black, so you can't even see it that well. Yeah, but it looks cool, and we'll check it out eventually. Right, and if we do like it, I'm going to get the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, they got Jaws, too.
I did see that. But to your point, to go back to your point about liking action figures over them, and you said so many versions of them, right? But I think that's because they look very generic, right? I think almost all the faces look very similar, if not the same. And that's the biggest part of the figure, right? So the clothing maybe, or a couple of accessories might make it stand out more. But I don't know, like a bunch of them on the shelf, I just think they would start to look the same. But that's me.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I'm a collector. It's in my blood. I've been collecting toys and comic books and now board games. Just progressively through my life, I go from collecting one thing to another. And I've got a ton of action figures, and I still buy them when a cool looking action figure comes out. I got, like I said, I think I got Dark Beast a couple months ago because it was a new set, and I've been waiting for a Dark Beast. But I'm not getting Funko Pops.
All right, what else you got?
All right, I think. So Funkoverse Batman. So the next one it's a Tiny Epic game that I kickstarted. It was called Tiny Epic Tactics, and haven't gotten it to the table yet. I believe when we actually got it in the mail, we had just had a kid, and it was kind of like, we have a bunch of other games to play. Just got this. We're not trying to learn a new game anytime soon. We don't have a long amount of time. Now that, she's 19 months old, there's times during the week where we know we could have a 3 or 4 hour span where we can learn a new game and play it, as opposed to play 2 games. And so we can get it to the table, and we probably will eventually. But we haven't been enamored with any of the Tiny Epic games yet. I really thought this one looked cool because I don't know, it's got like a little box that makes the board look 3D, and then
Is
there's
this
like
the one
a
with on the meeples?
no, that's tiny. That's Tiny Epic Quest with the like the swords and everything that they hold.
Right.
Yeah, no, this one it's got a board. It's got a mat that's a board, and then it's part of the box, like an insert in the box is a piece of cardboard that's also part board. You put it over here, and it's like a little mountain that you can also go on top of. And then I think there's like an entrance to a cave somewhere, so you can also have this other room over here. And it looks cool. It's interesting. They did something different. I thought it was cool, and I wanted to back it, and we just haven't played it yet. And it has like a snowboard, so you can play the whole game like regular. Instead of using the regular, board with the green and the bright colors like that, it's all white.
What is the theme though of this one? What are you actually doing in the game?
I don't know. We haven't played it, but there is a cooperative version. I think the game is a head-to-head game where you're, I guess, going around attacking the other guy using tactics that are both tiny and epic, and then you can play cooperatively where you attack other people. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm excited still to try it.
All right. Yeah, I'm not too enamored with the tiny epics overall. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with them, and I would probably give it another shot. But I had tiny epic kingdoms, and I got rid of it. It's never got played. All right. Speaking of things that do not get played, the last four here are fairly new, so there's that. One of them is sort of a Christmas gift, and I say that for this reason. It was a Christmas gift, but it was on back order for quite a while, so we did not get it, or I did not get it, I should say, for quite some time after Christmas. This is a game that I know you do have, though, and that's Super Skill Pinball 4K, the roll and write pinball game from Jeff Engelstein. Looks really cool. They already have another one coming out with four new boards soon, four new tables. And so, yeah, I got some catching up to do on this one. You like it, right?
I love the theme and the premise. However, there's a lot of every turn you have to be like, okay, and then I get 1 point. All right, and then you roll it back. And there's a lot of marking down points where you can very, very easily forget because it seems like you're rolling the dice, you move here, you mark it up. You're rolling the dice, you move here, you mark it up. And you're just doing this over and over and over and over again. That it can be tedious. There's just a lot of bookkeeping. But I've only played the first two maps, or I've only played the circus one and one other. I can't even remember. But it was difficult to keep track of all the points while I'm trying to learn a game and each round, because it's a roll and write, and I just want to roll dice. I just want to roll the dice, put my thing down, roll dice, put my thing down, and then score everything at the end. Not roll dice, put the thing, and then score that 1 point. It's just something that I have to get used to, and that's in my own.
Well, head. I think that's what was innovative about the game. Was it in that aspect? It was sort of giving you that pinball feel, right? When things are like beep 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 beep, and this and this and this and this and this. But yeah, definitely a little meatier than your typical just roll some dice and cross a couple things off, I guess.
Yeah. No, the game itself was cool, except for all the bookkeeping.
All right, so that's one. And then after that, I've got another game that I believe I asked you about if I should buy it because I saw it on sale, and I forget how much it was. It was pretty cheap. It was maybe like $16 or something. And you were like, yeah, I don't remember too much about it, but I think it was $16 worth of fun. And that was Risky Adventure. Queen Games. Some cool dice in there. And it's got that exploration, artifacts, Indiana Jones sort of backdrop, which I know is one of your favorites. But yeah, you have to get that one out. We'll see.
I don't remember much about the game. From what I do remember, it seemed like the kind of game where there's a decent amount where you got to read because this is happening and you got all this and you got to set up the board and you got to set this over here and these go over here. That it's not just put out this board, start playing a game.
Yeah.
But once you start playing a game, it's just roll some dice, do your thing, your turn. Roll some dice, do your thing. And there's not a lot of heavy decision making.
Sure.
But it's fun. All right. I got 3 games left. So one of them is called Welcome to Dino World. Has nothing to do with regular Welcome to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got me nervous there for a second.
But it is a roll and write.
Okay.
So we haven't played this game yet. I got it. I went to my local board game store, and I like to spend money there. So I just went there. It's like, oh, this looks interesting. Oh, it's a roll and write. Oh, it's about dinosaurs. Let's get it.
That'll do it.
Brought it home, watched a video, and I think Rado was talking about how it's pretty complex for a roll and write. But there's also a watered down version that you can play. So we're like, oh yeah, we'll play the watered down version, and then we'll figure out that we just haven't. We will. Not yet though. All right, so I got two more. How many you got left? You got two, right?
I got two, yeah.
Okay. So one of these, my next one is called Stygian Society. I think that's how it's pronounced. Stygian, Stygian.
I know that name. I know the name.
This one, my brother kickstarted for me, and I don't know much about the game. I think it's cooperative, and I think it has like a big cube tower. I don't want to say this thing's like 1.5 feet tall when you put it together. That you drop a bunch of colored cubes down, and there's random little platforms throughout it where you don't know what's actually going to fall out. And so that's interesting. The box is like it's the thickest box of the regular like Ticket to Ride size boxes. It's probably about the thickness of two of them, maybe 2.5.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because of the cube tower, I assume. But yeah, it's a game that we have not yet gotten to the table. I don't know much about it other than, what I just said. And we'll get it eventually. This is another one. Haven't even opened yet.
Wow. All right. What's the last one?
My last one is called Reavers of Midgard.
Oh.
Yeah. Melissa got me this one for my birthday, and because I wanted it. Haven't gotten to play it yet. It seems like it's going to be a relatively simple game because we've played games like this before. It just seems like there's going to be a decent amount of reading stuff, and as of yesterday, hadn't even opened it yet. But last night we opened it up, we checked it out, we punched everything out. So that's half of the problem done. So now all we have to do is open it up, put everything out, and read and figure out how to play the game.
There you go.
So yeah, we don't have any more punching tokens out and separating everything out. All that work is done. We have no excuse left.
Stage 3, profit.
Stage 1, steal underpants. Stage 2, Stage 3, profit.
Oh man, I'm glad you mentioned that one last because I feel like I did something similar and saved. Out of my two last games, I think one of them is probably the most popular game on my list, right? And so before that one, I'll get to one that is a 2-player game only that is relatively new, I think, and that's called Watergate. So it's one side is playing as Richard Nixon's administration, and the other side is playing as the media, the press, basically. And it's just we got it from, I think that was a Target or an Amazon, I forget. Opened it up and I was like, shocked at how small the game was. I thought it was a lot bigger. It's a little box about the size of like Lost City or Trails of Tucana. But again, cool artwork on there. Looks pretty cool. I don't think any other historical games are, based on any kind of actual events. So there's that. And then
I'll have to check if I have any of those.
Yeah, that's a good topic. And the big daddy here is very popular, like I said, and that's Paladins of the West Kingdom. A game that I got from trading in some games to a site called BoardGameCo.com, where they can give you either cash or store credit for some games. You trade them in, trade in a bunch of games that never got played to buy a game that has not gotten played. What is wrong with us, right? So that's one that I know I have to get to the table because I feel like everyone talks about it and I need to get in on that conversation.
Yeah, this whole of the North and of the West, these are all by the same publisher, designer, something like that.
Well, so Shem Phillips.
Whatever. Champions and Reavers of Midgard, are those also related to the rest of these? And the Viscounts, which looks like I've never seen that word before. I just want to call it Viscounts. but I hear people call it Viscounts. So I'm
I
going to
know
pretend
Viscounts
it's called
and
Viscounts.
Viscounts and Paladins and Architects are
Architects.
all West Kingdom.
Everything
games.
else is like the North Kingdom, and that's
I don't know if they're connected or not, to be honest.
okay. I was gonna say that's a cash cow right there.
Yeah. And I think at least out of the West Kingdom games, I know 2 out of 3 of them have expansions. The third one might have one as well. I'm not really sure. Looks like a decent amount of learning involved in that one, but it's a worker placement game, so I think we'll like it because of that. And again, going back to what we mentioned before about how sometimes things in a rulebook, are things you're comfortable with. If I know that I'm going to be placing workers out, that part of the game is going to make sense to us. It's the details that we'll obviously have to learn as we go.
Right. Learning a game like Reavers of Midgard. And again, I haven't played it, but I assume that in my head, I'm going to be like, well, I have Castle or Lords of Waterdeep. I have Monster Lands. I have these games where it's worker placement and you're getting dice, you're drafting that. And so I've played different games that have similar things, so I should be able to read something and be like, oh,
Right.
that's like in this other game. But again, just going back to Unicornus Knights, where it's just this completely different thing where you're trying to corral this princess to go a certain direction to stay away from bad things so that she can get to it's unique, it's different, and I can't wait to play it, but understandably, it's not going to be an easy learn.
All right, folks. So there you have it. There are a lot of games here from both of us. Almost, what was it, 29 now, right? Because you had 15.
Yes.
Games that we have not played.
Plus the ones that you mentioned beforehand, because they were 3 players, right? Are those part of your 14?
Oh, that's part of my 14, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we got 29 games.
Yeah. We should mention, we do some honorable mentions sometimes. So tell me, you excluded some games purposely off this list.
Right.
Which
so I excluded specifically expansions.
Right.
Because I've got a ton of expansions that I've never played. You get a Kickstarter, it comes with like 6 mini expansions. I can't keep track of which ones I've played. And then exit and escape room games, unlock games, those kinds of things. I don't buy them and expect to play them immediately. I buy them, I'll put them on my shelf, and then I play them, put them in the closet, and I pay it forward someday. So I didn't want to count any of those.
Yep. I did the same thing.
All right.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll have something else to chat about specifically, because I think doing this will probably, hopefully, give us a little bit of a kick in the pants to get some of these to the table finally. So we'll keep you updated on that. In the meantime, though, if you are watching this and you've played any of the games that we just mentioned, put it in the comments and convince us why we should get that one to the table before all the others. Let us know what we're missing. Let us know if you have any games on your shelf of shame or opportunity or Sharpshooters, whatever you want to call it. But that's all we have for today. My name is Anthony.
My name is Eric.
We're the Board Game Dads, and we'll see you folks next time.